You cannot always listen to anybody's opinion because no one lived in your shoes. Do you live in my shoes? No. So that's just something that I wish a lot of people understand it. Everybody's shoes is different. I did a lot of self-care work. I spoke to a lot of counselors in terms of my mindset because I lost so much confidence when I became 4. And I would used to be a bubbly kid and I was not that kid anymore. And, my family struggled a lot to find my purpose, but also trying to find a role model for me, which I didn't have when I was growing up. You have to keep going. In order to be successful in life, you gotta keep learning. You have to keep growing. And a lot of times people don't want to continue growing. People just want to get to the end and then they're done.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the Vibrant Soul Society, The Conversations. Our mission for the show is to simply help you discover that you are greater than your thoughts. On the opposite side of our thoughts is our divine essence, that vibrant soul. Kalina, welcome to the Conversations.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So for people who are unaware, who is Kalina?
Yeah, so Kalina is known as the Deaf Queen Boss. I am a deaf advocacy. For those who don't know, I'm actually a hard of hearing person. I actually became deaf at the age of 4. So this is where my life completely changed 100%. My mental health got affected. And also as well, I'm a mental health coach for young adults with disabilities. And as well, I'm an author of 3 books, but I have another book coming out this year, 2025, which I'm excited. And as well, I'm an international speaker, so I do speak all over the world about my disabilities and empowerment and mental health empowerment as well. Thanks.
That's quite a bit. So, how did you go from being deaf to making this impact in this world? I'm sure being deaf has offered a lot of challenges.
Yeah, 100%. It's not easy. So how did I go from it? Honestly and truly, I did a lot of self-care work. I spoke to a lot of counselors in terms of my mindset because I lost so much confidence when I became 4. And I was used to be a bubbly kid and I was not that kid anymore. And, my family struggled a lot to find my purpose, but also trying to find a role model for me, which I didn't have when I was growing up. I had a lot of support system in my family, but not what I was for. And my family knew that. And luckily, there was actually a deaf school and hearing school that I could go to. So I went to a deaf school in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I would actually go to hearing school to help me with my communication style, because everybody communicate different. And so that's when I learned how to learn the ASL, which is American Sign Language, and verbally speaking. So that's really how I navigate my role, how I am now.
That's great, but I can see you're bubbly like you were a child. You got that self-confidence back. So, how did you really root back into this self-confidence?
I honestly truly look for the right people to surround myself with. I feel like that is super hard to find. I know a lot of people say clean is super hard to find the right people to surround yourself with. And I was super honest with myself. Who do I want to be? What do I want to look like? And I always write it down on a piece of paper or even think about it. Or I also read a lot of self-care books, which is actually the key for my confidence, to be honest with everyone. I read a lot of confidence books. I read a lot of psychology books. I actually come from a psychology background. I do have a psychology degree, so that actually helped me build my confidence to really understand my thoughts. And it took me years to build my confidence, and it took me years to get here where I am today. And it wasn't that easy. It took me years. But how do I want to be? What do I want to look like? And yeah, so that's really how I really navigate. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're talking about surrounding yourself with the right people. So, who were those right people for you?
For me, it was my family, obviously. They're the one that are my number one. Your support system have to be your family. If you do not have the correct or the proper structure of your family supporting you, it definitely will make an impact in the long run. And number 2, beside outside family, I know a lot of people don't have that strong support from their family, but and a lot of people always ask me, where do I go outside my family? Because we don't want to be attached to our family sometimes. So for me, honestly, I would say it's joining a lot of groups, Facebook groups or even coming out of my comfort zone, being actively going to a networking event or like a community face to face, which is super terrifying for me. But I do not like going outside sometimes just because I'm a lip reader, so I get exhausted sometimes. And we rely on lip reading a lot of times to communicate. So it gets very draining and exhausting sometimes, but over time I got used to it. And to back what I was saying, I did a lot of volunteer work, something I love doing. I did volunteer for youth as well and a nonprofit organization to find my purpose, to find my confidence. And I realized that youth helped me overcome my challenges. So that's really how I learned to find my support system, find my community.
Yeah, great. So you use groups and networking. Did you have anyone that we could say somewhat famous that was deaf and they made a huge impact in the world?
Yeah, it's 100%. There's a deaf actor. Her name is Miley. And so she's part of one show and one movie. It's called Swish at Birth. That's my favorite show ever. And I saw Miley and I also saw another deaf actor. Her name is Daphne. So she was my favorite thing ever. My mom saw it at work or something, and then she put it on for me when I came home from school. And she's like, "You need to watch this show." And I'm like, "Okay, what kind of show is that?" And then when I saw that, I saw an actor that looked like me, and I was like, "No way, there's a dub test!" I was so excited. And sadly, the show finished. There's no more. I'm hoping they will come up with more episodes because I would be like so happy. Yeah, that was one of the actor that brought up my confidence.
It sounds like you found like all the right support systems now. So now you're helping with business coaching, mental health, and then individuals continuing, wow, she had all these obstacles that she overcame. So let me get around her. Let me surround myself with you. Are you finding that, well, that like, how are you helping people with their mental health? Is there anything specific that you deal with?
So when I help with for business aspects, I help with how to be inclusive for the deaf individual. And so I do a lot of workshops. So we do like a 1 day or 2 day workshop. It really depends on what the organization want me to do. And we do a lot of activities where we do like a role play where we pretend that one individual has a disability and then the other one is a cage worker. So that's where I help people in terms of the business aspect. My coaching business, I help those to build their self-confidence and also advocacy. I teach them how to advocate for themselves. And that's the biggest issue that a lot of us struggle is really learn how to advocate and also as well helping them to improve their mindset. In terms, what I mean by that is I focus on what is they struggling right now to the end goal. I do not look at negative psychology, which is trauma. I focus on positive psychology. So I work on from A to B to C. That's the only thing I work on with my client. And as well, I do sometimes group coaching for clients who want to interact with other people to hear other people's stories and how they overcome the challenges. So that's what I do.
Because this is really such an important point, that the advocacy to really speak up for herself. So how do you start with someone that is afraid to speak up and tell you what they need?
Yeah. So the very first thing is I will actually have a piece of paper with them. I make them draw a big circle in the center and they put me. And then I make them draw a straight line. Who are they surround themselves with? Who is the good person who can help them advocate? And then I would do the role play and we practice. And number two, what I do is I refer them to communities by their home that they can go to. And well, it's up to the client if they want the person to meet with me. I'm more than happy to meet with the client and the person to have a conversation about what's really going on, how we can support the client better. So that's how I really help clients with the advocacy work.
Because I think what goes along with that advocacy work is maybe people don't really know who they are and what their boundaries are and what their values are. So do you help them get clarity on that as well?
Yes, I help them get clarity and especially understanding the value and truly understanding what their disabilities are. So a lot of us, a lot of times, don't really dig deep of what we need to really focus on. We're missing that little piece of thing to help us be more successful.
Oh, that's really an interesting point. That if you're just constantly go, you're maybe in a place that you're reactive and maybe not doing what's best for you. So you're showing them how to respond to a situation as opposed to going and racing all the time.
Yeah, I do not like racing. I really don't. I'm not a race person. I did it before and I'm never doing it again.
Yeah, because unfortunately, now people are constantly racing, chasing the to-do list that never gets done. And do you find it adds more stress as well?
Yeah. Sometimes I try to manage stuff on my own time. So I'm really good at time management and I'm really good at maintaining my stress around people.
I think it's an important skill a lot of people don't learn is how to break the reactivity, to take a pause, to respond, because you're finding that you can do less and be more productive.
I feel like a lot of times it's not more of doing less, it's more of being aware of what you are capable of doing. If you understand what you're capable of doing, the more you're able to be more productive.
Because you do those things that make a difference. You're taking the right course of action, doing these things that you're good at and you can accomplish, as opposed to maybe focusing on something where your skills aren't so strong and you keep working at it and you just keep giving yourself more and more stress. Nope, we need to surround ourselves with the right people to help us out in these situations. Another interesting point too that you do at your business that a lot of people really maybe not think about how to be more inclusive. How do we bring in more people into our circle that have some disabilities or limitations? How do we include them as well? Because we all want to live a better life. If you have something that can help somebody, how do you bring them into that to help them?
How do I bring it into it? Basically, I do a workshop. I actually do a very interesting thing. The first thing is I ask them a simple question and say, who does not want to live a better life? Everybody put their hand up, right? I ask people, keep your hand up. Why are we not helping other people who have a disability? Why that? And it gets people really thinking to really understand, oh my God, I have my hand up. I really want to live a better life. But why am I not making it a peaceful world as it should be? Because everybody should be feel heard and included. And second thing, what I do is I actually do activities. I do a lot of speaking about my personal stories and have a lot of activities. So where I will make a bunch of groups and I will do a scenario for them to come up with a conclusion so that they can understand how can we do better to be more inclusive for one another. And I provide a consistent workshop with other organizations just to make sure that we're keeping people mindful of the surrounding because you never know who you're going to come across that is disabled.
Because the better life reminds me as well is that we all want this better life, but we either have a diagnosis, a disability, and we allow the diagnosis, the disability to define our destiny. And it doesn't need to be this way. That
Exactly.
you're the living example.
No, no. And does not. And I tell people all the time, it doesn't matter what you have, but don't let disability define who you are as a person. There's certain things that you cannot do, and that's okay. You can say, you know what, I'm disabled. I can't do this. But don't let it get into you too much. And I feel like a lot of people get too caught up in that mindset of, okay, I can't do this. I cannot do this. I cannot do this. And I'm like, why can you not do it? They're like, people told me I cannot do it. And I always tell people, you cannot always listen to anybody's opinion because no one lived in your shoes. Do you live in my shoes? No. So that's just something that I wish a lot of people understand it. Everybody's shoes is different.
That's a good reminder too that I cannot do this. I cannot do this. We hear this a lot in the world. And we like, why is that true? Is it from somebody's information that they told you, oh, you can never do this, you can never do this? Like you said, they don't live in your shoes. They don't inhabit this body. So we need to dive deep beyond all these mental stories and say, that's not true. And I like to remind people just because the world is telling you your diagnosis is incurable, is it your truth?
Yeah. You have to know your truth. Everybody's truth is different. And I feel like people need to understand is that do not listen to the social media. Please do not do that. Do not be scared. And I know people be like, oh yeah, I saw this on social media. Oh my God, they're going crazy. So that means I'm crazy too? And I'm like, no, that's the very truth of living their own life. You have your own expectation. For example, you meet someone who's bipolar. I mean, normal, but you wouldn't know because they know how to take care of themselves. And that's what it comes down to. Are you able to take care of yourself? Are you able to be confident in yourself? And it all comes down to the thought, the mindset of preparing yourself, all these crazy things that's going to happen. Like for me, as a deaf individual, I have to make sure there's closed caption. But is that going to stop me from communicating with people? No. So I also tell people like stay away from the social media, stay away from the bad noise in the background.
Because you brought up the title, the label bipolar, but it's just a label. I know I was given that label, but I no longer identify with it. My body doesn't exhibit those symptoms anymore. I let that story go.
Exactly. You have to let it go.
Yeah, you have to let it go, but a lot of people are unable to let it go. So how do you help people to let go?
I honestly, so I love doing this activity. I tell people really truly get a piece of paper, write down something that you want to let go of. Just write something on a piece of paper. And safely, either they can, if they have a lighter or a fire, they can fire it up and then let them breathe while they're doing that and take a deep breath out. Or crumble up the paper and saying over and again, I am letting this go. I am living free. When people keep thinking that, they're able to let go and live freely. I feel like people don't understand how much they push so much hard on themselves. And a lot of people don't realize that until they do an activity. Yeah, I'm taking care of my mind, but what are we doing? Are we really doing something? Are we taking action out of it? Are we doing something that's going to clear our mind? And I feel like people don't understand writing down something is super powerful. When you write something down, it's coming off that paper. Your body can react a certain way, but well, I'm letting go of something. And that's how I really help people with letting go. And also too, really go deep in terms of understanding why are they thinking this way, right? It's important to come from step 1, 2, and 3 to really understand. So I help people with all that type of activities though.
Yeah, that's really good that we are here to be living free and not being defined by the mind or slowed down by the mind with those stories. And I love the living free, crumple it up, throw it out. And if you really something powerful that really needs to be let go of, burn it if you can. Take it outside and say, I'm burning this. There's no trace of it
Exactly.
left. It's gone. And most likely you'll feel lighter.
100
And if the mind wants to drag it back, do it again.
do it again. And some people are scared to do it again a lot of time because they don't want to bug their body and they're like, oh my God, I have to do it again. Oh my, and they get exhausted and they're like, oh, again, I'm thinking about this. But you have to keep going because that is the key. You have to keep going. In order to be successful in life, you gotta keep learning. You have to keep growing. And a lot of times people don't want to continue growing. People just want to get to the end and then they're done. And I'm like, that's not the end game. You have to keep going. And they're like, I'm tired. I did it for 20 years. Okay. I'm a young kid. I'm not that young, but I did it for 20 years. It took me years, like I said. And I said, you're quitting after 4 months? And they're like, okay, never mind, Kalina. You have a point. You did it for 20 years. I'll be quiet.
But that's the thing, though. The mind will resist change. So you have to keep doing the work. And there's still some days that we still have to continue the work. It's like my mind is attaching to this again. We got to let this go. That the journey is never done.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah, life is a constant challenge. What you learn is tools to keep moving forward.
Exactly.
So, what are some of your favorite tools that keep you going? Because I'm sure you have challenges that you're facing continuously in part of life. So, what are some of the tools that you are using?
So for me, number one is understanding my why. Why am I keep moving forward? Why am I living this life? Right. And so obviously my why is the younger generation that I meet daily during my speaking engagement. They're the one that actually keep me moving forward. And the more I do it, the more it drives me to be better and interacting with other youth. And number two, the tool that I use all the time, like I said before, reading mental health books, reading self-care books, reading positive psychology books definitely helped me a lot to learn about ways to come up with different tools to teach myself. I'm always learning, I'm always growing about mental health because honestly, mental health change every single day how you think of it. That's definitely true. And number three, doing my hobbies. I love going to get my nails done all the time. And I love taking care of my body, my facial. I love doing facial, ladies. If you're a lady listening, go do your facial, okay? It helps. And honestly, I love spending time with family and friends. Definitely my escape times.
The self-care is so important. Those little things you do is just to remind you that you are worth it, that you are deserving. And I think that helps with your confidence as well.
100%. 100%. Self-care is everything equals confidence. I tell people self-care equals confidence. If you don't take care of yourself, your confidence is not going to boost.
Because the mind's in that scarcity or lack saying, you don't deserve this. Do you do anything like yoga or meditation, or that's not part of your routine?
So I used to do yoga. However, yoga I am not good at. I couldn't do it. I was like, oh my God, I'm not flexible. And then so I moved towards meditation. The only thing is with meditation is I do not know how to sit still. I need something to keep me moving. So I feel like self-care and getting my nails done forced me to stop moving. So I need something that forced me to stop moving. Out of meditation, I tried so many times. It helped when I do not have a busy day or if it's like a weekend schedule, then I could do meditation. So I do meditation maybe like 3 times a month, I would say, not too much. I heard it helps with a lot of people, but everyone, I cannot sit still. But that's why I like to do self-care, my hair, my nails, my facial, anything with the body related. I think that's something I could do. But meditation helps. I'm not going to lie.
That's also the whole point of meditation or any of these practices is just being present to being here in this moment. That's really what it comes down to. So it doesn't have to be meditation because something that brings you back here into this moment, out of the mind and into this moment. Oh, look at my nail color. Look at her working on my nails or working on the face. You're aware of that. You're not lost in the story.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know why. I'm just an energetic, bubbly person. So I need to do something that's gonna, I don't know. Being present is so important for me on weekends. So that's really how I actually take care of myself for during weekends. Friday, Sunday is my day off from the business and everything to focus on me.
Yeah, just learning to be present. And a lot of people aren't present. They're lost. For I don't know if you drive or not, for people that drive, everyone has driven someplace and they have no idea how they've gotten there
Yeah.
because they weren't
Exactly.
present. Well,
Present. Yeah, exactly. Especially if you listen to your favorite music for too long and you don't know where you're going.
yeah, that's another thing where the mind's in the music and the subconscious is transporting.
Exactly. Yeah, there.
Yeah, so this has been a great conversation. What's the first thing they can do to start to rewrite the script of their life?
I would say very first thing is grab a pen and a piece of paper. Write down what is it you want to see yourself in 5 years from now. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Write down at least five. Every 3 months, go back to a day. Put it on your wall or in your bathroom mirror because we always go to the bathroom. So if we use the bathroom mirror to remind ourselves, this is what our expectation, what our goals are for the next 5 years, is going to help you. Do not be nervous to seek help. What I mean by it that don't be afraid to look for a counselor, a coach, or somebody near your home. Number three, find the right support system, whether it's family or a friend. Do not be afraid to cut people off. So that would be my advice. Starting over.
Yeah, just to slow down and really focus on what's important to you. I think that's the key thing, that what is important to you. And maybe you don't know what your values are. Maybe you need to have someone like yourself to say, my life is a mess. I really don't know where it's going. I just don't have any clear direction. That's where coaching can come in because we get these blind spots, I call them. The mind, what's this negative chatter? I'm not deserving, I'm not worthy, and that destroys our self-confidence. Or the belief systems kick in and they create this blind spot that you're not able to see yourself clearly.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's really doing those things. So you're helping with the business coaching, the mental health. What else is brewing in Kalina's world?
Oh God, I'm also had so for those who don't know, so I'm actually creating a fourth book this year. So that's another collection I'm gonna be toward Kalina as well. My favorite book is my personal book. I love my book so much. It's a poetry book. It's about me being deaf. It's called Every Day I Am Just Deaf. And it's a poem. Remember, it's a poem. You can read this book in 2 or 3 days. It's not a chapter book. Don't worry. And my second, third, and fourth book is going to be a collaboration book with everybody across the world, talking about the business there, talking about the disability, and so on. I guess the next thing for Clean World is definitely my fourth book coming out this year. And again, you guys, I do not know the title yet. It's coming out. Don't worry, bear with me. And also as well, I'm going to be starting up a course, which I'm being slacking a little bit on because I had so much going on. And yeah, so I'm going to be signing a course. I will be teaching people about how to find ways to get their business growing. And also, number two is mental health. So, teaching people about confidence, advocacy, which I may have different coaches come in and talk about uh, their strategy.
So if people had questions today, how would they reach out to you?
Yeah, I've been making reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram underneath Kellina Powell. And also, my website is kalinaempowerment.com.
Okay, perfect. So thank you for joining us on the conversation today. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.